On? All right. Welcome. Thanks for coming. This Genesee County Compassion Club show. Myself, Jeremy Rapinski, co-host
I'm Tom Yeager.
Tom Yeager.
And I'm Barb Hoos from the Pink Ladies, Genesee County Compassion Club.
Well, thanks and welcome for coming today. We got a lot of cool stuff that we want to cover with you. The last couple of shows, we've been doing kind of a political theme, letting you know what's going on out there as far as legislative actions. And this week, we kind of wanted to take a little bit of a break from that and kind of get back to our roots of, a pun intended. So we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. And the reason that we continue to push the political thing, let you know, is number one, to keep you active, let you get involved and be able to help us out in that regard. The other thing is just because we're passionate about what we do. We're tired of being stereotyped as, oh, you're...
Well, bingo.
Wow, sorry about that. It's being stereotyped. You smoke weed, so you're a stoner. You must be lazy. Or you must be stupid. Maybe you go out and hug trees or something silly like that. We just want to be able to prove that wrong and just show that we're intelligent, active adults, responsible citizens. And so that's why we do try to present that here on the show. And because we know that we know that you are, and so we want to give you the power to go ahead and continue to change that model here in our society. But let's get back to the fun stuff. That's what we wanted to talk about today. And we're going to start off today with what we're going to call the cultivation station.
Cultivation station.
Makes me want to get up and boogie.
You wake up in the middle of the night and just write down these names, don't you?
I don't know where it comes. I know where it comes from. That'd be the sativa.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
I was going to say, that's not an indica doing that.
So, we want to talk about some growing aspects today. Just some basic stuff that we wanted to cover on the show. I mean, obviously, this is a radio podcast sort of thing, so there's limitations on what we can really do, but we wanted to talk about some things. We're looking hopefully to get some feedback from our audience out there today, so we welcome any call-ins at any time throughout the show. Please give us a call or type it out there if you have a question about growing or cultivating cannabis. Call in, let us know if you have a question. We'd love to help you out. But the first thing we're going to start with is just your basic two different types of cultivation methods, and the first one, would be soil, right?
Yes, and soil is one of the ways that gives you more of what you want to say. A lot of people think it gives you a better taste. That when you get from hydro, that you get a chemical taste. Now, I've had hydro that does not have a chemical taste, but I've had also soil that, or what's the way to do about that?
Well, there is a lot of debate on that, and that's pretty technical, so I don't want to get into too much of that right now. But with the soil base, obviously it could be indoor or outdoor. Obviously, it's dirt, right?
Right.
Typically, it's going to be mixed up with some other type of medium to keep the air and the correct moisture in that medium. Now, when we talk about medium,
A perlite? Something?
perlite,
Okay.
vermiculite, different types of things are going to break up the soil and keep it from compacting. It's going to keep air in there. It's going to allow moisture to fill it and evaporate back out or be sucked back out through the roots. For instance, like clay is so dense that you couldn't grow through it. Some plants can, but they're extremely hard type of plants. Or you have something that's more porous, like sand. Well, sand it's just going to flow right through. It wouldn't give a lot of structure to it. It wouldn't be solid enough. So all the different types in between. Now, like obviously a growing medium for dirt would be compost even would work.
Now, so the soil that you get from Home Depot is not the soil we want to get now, is it?
Well, not to say that it's not what you want to get. Home Depot has your regular gardening type mixes, and you'll see on the bag there that it will contain a number of different fillers that will provide that breakup in the soil, such as like perlite. Perlite is almost looks like styrofoam that's been busted into a million pieces, and like white beads, and they're very light and they're very airy. It's a good way to describe it. So a lot of soils at those stores, they're not necessarily bad. It's just that they do present particular issues that you're probably going to have to face. Number one would be proper density. Like if I take a bag of Miracle Grow, and I compare that to a bag of Pro Mix soil, you're going to find that there's a buoyancy of the soil itself have quite a vast difference. Let's say it weighs 30 pounds, and a 5-gallon bag of Pro Mix might weigh, let's say, 10 pounds. Okay. So in other words, it's a lot less dense. It allows the roots to grow through it quicker. The other thing about it is like typically soils like Pro Mix or Fox Farm, Normally, the way that they're procured is through a very specific process, and it eliminates a lot of the contaminants that can be in there. So, for instance, like Miracle Grow, it's not the way that it's processed. It actually is. It sounds funny, but it's dirty dirt. There's a lot of stuff in there in that soil that you don't want, such as like you could open up a bag of an organic mix and have spider mites in there and not know it.
Oh, okay.
So obviously you don't want those.
Right.
Like I said, it's not to say that you couldn't use those soils that you would find at your typical Lowe's or hardware store or Home Depot, something like that. They will work. It's just that there are better alternatives to it.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Now, so we kind of topped it on the other one. It was hydro.
Yeah.
Now, what all goes into hydro? Now, I heard it's a little bit more of a learning curve to it, and it's not as forgiving as soil.
True. Yeah.
Soil, if you walk away for a day and you don't water it or it doesn't get the water on the roots, you're okay because it's impacting soil. But
That's right.
Compared to hydro, the roots are bare, so there's no water on it. They dry.
That's a good point. Soil keeps the moisture longer. It's much more forgiving with the levels of the pH and the nutrients. For instance, in the U.S., we talk a lot about parts per million or ppm. You're really, if you were to go to any other country, you'd actually be working on EC. And EC is, I personally would depend on that much more than a ppm reading.
Now, ppm is parts per million. Now, what does EC stand for?
I believe that is electrical conductivity.
Okay, and that's the amounts of...
It's basically measuring the amount of nutrient mass inside the cells.
Right.
So that way approximately if I have a cup of water, how many parts per million are in that cup of water? Is it zero? Is there basically nothing in there except water? Or does it have a bunch of minerals and salts and things like that inside of it?
Which makes the conductivity of it higher.
Correct. Because
Right. And that's what the EC rating is.
Thank
then.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I have a question to ask too about your soil because isn't there, like you said, if your plants are getting a little leery, isn't there a flushing procedure that you can do?
Yeah, a lot of times if your pH gets out of whack,
Okay.
your pH is your measure of alkalinity or acidity in the soil, and it needs to be kept at a median of say 5.5 to 6.5. That's a good range for the cannabis plant. Some plants will like other ranges, and so you have to keep that at a certain level. Soil is more forgiving. So let's say, for instance, if the water out of the tap is running at 8.0 and then you put it in your soil will actually help regulate that pH and bring it down to the proper level. You may need to use some types of adjusters, such as like pH up or pH down, to get your pH to the correct level. But if you're using nutrients with your water,
most of the time they balance it out for you.
A lot of times they will. They will correct the pH in the water to a level that's going to be appropriate for your needs. So you need to be very careful about monitoring your pH. It can be done with test strips. It can be done with the drops, or it can be done with a meter.
Right, and also, if you want to test your normal tap water, you can take it right to your local pool store, and they can test it for you, too. You don't have to tell them what water it is. It's just, can you test my water? And they'll tell you what the part per million is, alkalinity of it, everything of it.
And many of your city water programs, you can actually go there or call them, and they will give you the information all about their water, about what levels of the minerals and nutrients that are in there, and you can get a readout and understand what's supposed to be coming out of your tap. Now, I would recommend that you test that because, they're testing it at the center, whereas you're going to be testing it at your home. But again, you can kind of find out. A lot of your city water will have, obviously, chlorine in it. Sometimes it has fluoride. And those things are harmful to your plants. So it's best to see if you can try to help eliminate those, which you can by using like a water filtration system, like reverse osmosis. The other way to do simply cheaper way is to let it sit out overnight. And a lot of times within a 24-hour period, a lot of those harmful chemicals will evaporate out of that water.
Yes.
It won't necessarily correct your pH, but it's going to take care of some of the overloads in there.
Now, that's another thing with pH. A lot of people like to use rainwater. But one thing that I stress with rainwater is it's very, very low in pH because it's very acidic. It's the rain pulls all the acids and everything that's out of the air, and you've heard acid rain. We don't have that, but it is it is very acidic. So if you are using rainwater, you need to make sure that you're testing your pH as well because you may be way lower than you want to be.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend to ease your growing and your cultivation. Run your water through a filtration system if you can. If you cannot do that sort of a thing, at least let it set out overnight. That's probably the cheapest, easiest way to do it. But if you can afford to, I would definitely recommend that you do filter your water, preferably through a reverse osmosis system. And the reason is at the end of the stage of a reverse osmosis, your EC would be 0.
Right.
And then you can basically manipulate that to the range that you're looking to achieve, anywhere from like 2.5 to 4.5.
Now, when you say reverse osmosis systems, we're not talking about the $5,000 ones. That's the whole house system that you have to get. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or any other hardware store and get a small under the sink is what they call them. And you can actually pretty much put them anywhere in your house. You don't have to put them right under your sink if you want to put them closer to where you're working.
Yeah, they are made to like bolt into the top of a sink. So you do need to have like a countertop. But, they're about $115 if you get one on sale. They'll do usually have like a 1.5 to a 3 gallon reservoir tank that comes with them. And, depending on your needs, it could be good. If you needed something larger than that, there are different things. One's made by Hydrologic where you can have anywhere from 100 to 300 gallons per day. I don't know if you need anything of that size, but even those run anywhere from, I think they're like $200 to $300, maybe $400 at the highest end. So, depending on what you're doing, if you're just that person that's taking care of yourself, that patient that's just doing 12 plants, the under the sink one might be more than sufficient. Okay. If you're a caregiver and you're taking care of 5 patients, then you probably would need to use something more significant to meet your needs. Right. So, yeah, that's a good point. With your soil, it's important that you measure those, that you monitor them. You can flush your soil if you're having problems, and that's kind of what Barb was talking about. That's one of the ways to kind of balance things out. If maybe you think your ppms or your EC has risen or lowered, typically it's going to rise on you because you're dumping more stuff into your soil, and you get overload. Maybe your pH is off. So then to adjust that, you can do a flush. Obviously, if your pH is off, you need to make sure you're monitoring the pH of what you're adjusting it with. But you can do a flush.
Can you tell them exactly what a flush is for us dumb women out there? Yes, it's not, we're thinking, God, we got to go to the bathroom and flush. But, what is she talking about, a flush?
Yeah, we got to go upstairs, flush the toilet twice, and everything will be good.
Everything's going to be good. Yeah, your plants are fine. Now go home.
No, a flush is, simply put, you're just overflowing the container so that the water is pouring out the bottom as you're pouring it in the top. And what that would do is allow it to literally flush out all of the stuff that's currently in there, and then what's left is going to be just your soil and whatever you just put in, whether it be just straight up water. Again, you'd want to make sure your pH is correct when you do that because there's nothing left after you've done that.
Now, we're kind of familiar with the flushing with hydro. They always say to flush the last few weeks. Now, you had the opportunity to talk to a world-renowned chemist in this field, and he told you that flushing isn't really what you want to do, that it's actually the exact opposite?
Yeah, that was flooring to me. I've always heard that you should be flushing your plants the last 2 weeks before harvest to eliminate the chemicals that are in the plant, which made sense. I'm thinking, okay, nobody wants chemicals in their plants, whether they be organic or not. We just want the plant itself. Well, also taste. That was the other concern is, I can taste newts. I've heard that from a lot of people. And the scientific fact of the matter is that you do not taste newts. Plants only take up what they naturally will take up. Let's say, for instance, you put in cherry flavoring into your soil. That's not going to make your plants taste like cherries. It's going to take.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you wasted all that cherry juice, didn't you?
I did. I was buying.
As an example, there's also many different methods that you can do to put in sugars into your plants, and people will say, well, that increases the sweet taste of this plant. And to an extent that is true because you're putting in a simplex or a simple carbohydrate into the plant. But what happens? Acids, which we know is protein. And that's the way that the plant uses to build. And if you think about it, a plant is using that to build its size, its strength, everything that's good about it. That's what protein does for our bodies. It's what it does for the plant as well. And so to continue to feed your plant right up until the harvest stage, what you're doing is you're continuing to provide it the nutrients that it needs to finish up, to complete its complete phase of growing. And the taste factor is actually just a myth because your plant isn't going to just take this stuff up. It only takes up what it's going to take anyways. It doesn't know any other. It doesn't know, okay, well, this is an organic nutrient, so I'm going to change and taste this way. Or this is, all of a sudden, let's say it's zinc or something, something that the plant wouldn't take in. Well, plants do take in zinc, but I'm just using it as an example. If they can't take it, they're not going to take it up. Okay. So it's very kind of an interesting thing there. I've always heard that you should flush, and I found out that that's a myth. And actually, you should want to increase your feeding schedule right up until harvest because that's when the plant is able to accept more nutrients without continuing or without burning. And burning is when your plant gets too many nutrients in it, and it actually looks like it has been sunburnt. burnt.
All right.
Yep, and it can do that. What he was saying is that you can increase right up to harvest. I found that fascinating. I had always been told the opposite. But after I kind of did some studying, and I found that he's right. That's interesting.
Would that definitely increase the bud size? Or?
It should, yeah.
It should?
He said, when you do your flush, you're actually you're doing the exact opposite of what you should want to do, because at that point, your plant it's at its biggest level. It's doing the most work it's ever done because now of the size, and so you should be feeding it more. And what you're doing is you're kind of starving it.
So it's like a weightlifter then that's bulking up, then all of a sudden stops eating but still keeps working out.
Exactly.
And then, you just fall apart.
Yep.
Instead of if you kept eating and,
Sure.
adding on the steroids, so to speak,
Yep.
with the nutrients, you'd build bigger.
That's right. So
That makes sense.
something interesting. I'm definitely going to try and see what happens.
Yeah.
Try that way and see if it does work. Yeah, it's worth a good argument anyway.
Right.
Somewhere
Yeah.
along the road. Yeah.
And
that's
what
interesting.
we maybe to do a case study.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a caller here. Nope.
Nope, no caller.
Okay.
Caller.
Prank caller.
But if you guys do want to call in, feel free to call in at 810-208-1854. That's right here at the Flint Talk radio stations. Or you can get into the chat. Just click the enter chat right underneath the picture on Flint Talk, and that'll put you right into our chat line, where you can ask any questions that way as well.
As long as we're on this subject, I'm going to ask Jeremy one more. With something about passing clones that I've heard recently.
Okay, thank you.
Being sprayed for bugs
It's a good idea.
before you pass them.
Yep.
What exactly would you recommend? What should a person do before you go and pass a clone?
Well, a good idea is, if you're the one giving the clone, you'd want to make sure that you're giving a plant that is healthy, that has a good solid root structure. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, you had a cutting that was inside of a medium, like a cube of rock wool, or maybe a grow cube, which are brown and they look like a sponge. What would happen is that would fill up with roots as the cutting takes root. And the roots, you should be able to see them at the point of when it has starting to become a plant, because there will be little white fuzzy strings that are now coming out of this medium. And then that's the root structure of the plant. So if those roots are, let's say, brown and they look kind of like a wet noodle, that's going to be not a good sign. They've been sitting there too long. Probably should have been transplanted. Maybe they're under harsh conditions, all of those things. But if they look white and fuzzy, then that's a good sign of a healthy plant.
Oh, okay.
Now, what you also want to do is, if you're the person giving the clone, is you want to make sure that there are not any pests coming along with it. A good way to check for pests, number one, is just visually inspect the plant. Make sure there aren't any spots on there. Make sure you don't have leaf curl or leaf burn. If you do, what you can simply do is remove those sections from the leaf. It will not hurt the plant. It'll be fine. It will recover. If you have like a spray bottle, a good thing to do is mist it down with just the water. And it will expose, let's say if you had any mites, now you'll be able to see their little webs. It's very hard to see with the naked eye. So if you just kind of mist them down. So if you're the person getting the clones, that might be something you want to do before you take it into your area where you're doing your growing. Take the plant aside and give it a misting and just give it a very good inspection. Make sure that you turn the leaves over and look on the back side of the leaf, because that's where the majority of your pests are going to live at. And what you're going to be looking for are things like little white dots or little black spots, or maybe like little tiny worms, or little things that look like tears, but they're real small. Just little tiny specks. If you're having trouble viewing it, I definitely recommend you use a magnifying glass. Usually clones are very small, so it's not a time-consuming thing to do. But take your time and inspect both the top and the bottom of the leaf, making sure that there's nothing on there that isn't just supposed to be there, which is very clear when you're looking at it. It'll be separate from the leaf if it's a mite or something along those lines. You can use types of sprays if you want to make sure there's nothing going on, such as like neem oil is a very effective pest killer that is not a harmful insecticide. It's basically made from neem seeds. Coriander oil works very well. You can use home remedies such as like crushed garlic with some cayenne pepper, throw in a little bit of lemon juice. That also works. And these are types of things that you can use that are more organic. You're not using a chemical compound. It's safe for you. It's safe for the plant. And it won't hurt your plant either. There are some other types of things.
These are things that you can use throughout your whole gardening too.
That's
well.
right. For all,
not just for when you pick up a clone.
Right. In general, as pest control and so on, prevention is really the key. But if you do have a problem, those are things that you can use to eliminate the problem.
Okay, and I'm going to pop you in for one more question. What would you say would be a good average size for a clone? What should you look for a clone 10 inches? Should you look for a clone 6 inches? What would be a good size?
You know what? As far as size goes, Barb, I really wouldn't think that size matters because of the fact that you're going to be able to do what you want to with that plant once it's going. What you really want to look for is just that it's healthy. Make sure that it's got a root structure. If you're buying just a cutting, then you have to understand that it's going to be up to you to see how well you can do to get that cutting to root. Okay? It also is going to depend on the health of the plant that it came from. So in other words, if I give you a cutting and the mother plant was sick and weak, that cutting is going to have that much less of a chance to actually take root. So if you're taking clones that are not rooted, you may want to ask, are these guaranteed? If they're not, take that into consideration on the amount that you're paying, because you might be buying 12 clones that will die in 2 days.
Right.
And there will be nothing that you can do about it. You won't have the opportunity. Clones are something that they do take about anywhere from 3 to 15 days to take root. So you do need to have patience. But if you haven't done it before, you may want to get the clones that already have roots, because at that point it is going to be self-sustaining. It's not going to die that quickly. If you just treat it like any normal plant, it's going to survive and do well.
Good advice. Good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I know a lot of folks out there right now are looking for clones and looking for seeds. We have a lot of patients that have just gotten their cards, caregivers that have gotten their cards, and they're asking, where do we start? Where do we get these from? How do we do this legally? We don't want to order seeds online because technically that's not legal,
right.
So where the heck do we go? We don't have a seed bank here in Michigan, which that would be nice if we did. But what I can tell you is get out to your Compassion Club meetings, meet people, find out who's doing what.
Right, yeah.
See if you can get yourself started. Make sure you're looking for particular strains. Do your investigation and your homework. Some plants are easier to start with and some aren't.
Right. But what we were going into kind of goes into our next topic, which was cleaning of sorts. From pipes and bongs to your hydro setups to your grow room. All different things, there's a cleaning that needs to go through. One for your pipes that I've found that's a home remedy instead of what they sell is like 420 liquid 420.
Yeah, the orange cleaner.
Right, and all these different cleaners that are way through the roof, I think, in price compared to what I've found. All you have to do is take your regular table salt, mix it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and shake.
Okay,
that's all you have to do, and you're gonna pour
like
out just
kosher salt.
All the salt is just it's just an abrasive, and it's not going to make any chemical reaction with the rubbing alcohol. So any salt, the bigger, if you use like a sea salt and you were grinding it, obviously a thicker.
What equation, Tom, to that? A cup of alcohol to what? A tablespoon of salt?
It really depends more on the size of the piece you're working with. If you're using a giant piece, a 6-foot piece, you're going to want to put at least a cup of salt in it. But if you're using just a small hand piece, just enough to where you can see the salt in there moving around, and to where it's not what do you want to call it, breaking down.
Right.
To where it's still
So
salt
if I had my glass pipe, I would actually pour the solution into the pipe?
Yeah, just pour a little bit, cover the hole, pour a little bit
hole.
of the liquid in, pour a little salt in, cover a little bit of liquid in, and just keep doing that and just shaking it, and just you'll be amazed when you see what it does.
Well, why didn't you tell me that before I broke 2 of my good glass pipes?
Were you trying to boil them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you're boiling them,
Barbara didn't do too good.
yeah, if you boil them, you have to watch them, because if
Yeah.
you get the water going too much and it's too high, they'll start moving and bouncing. But you have to keep it just flush right there.
I thought
There's that word again,
I
flush.
thought I was cooking pasta. I don't know. Yeah,
Just boil the hell out of it. There we go.
There we go. Oh, that didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
Aw.
But no, I found that way works the best for cleaning your utensils, because a lot of people do like the flavors of their medicine, and that's that's one of the benefits, because you are given unfortunate situation, you do have a medicine, you should be able to have a benefit to it, and some of the benefits are the taste. And so cleaning and proper cleaning of your utensils that you use, from also vaporizers, you want to clean out any whips or bags that you use. So cleaning also helps out with that taste, and keeps it from getting such a
now do you use
stale
like
taste.
a Q-tip or something like that? Or?
Nope, just shaking. Just that shaking around, that salt will break it apart. Yeah, you can use a Q-tip in there if you want to, if there's like a tighter corner that the salt's just not making it into. There will be little spots that you have to kind of finagle something in there to get, but that rubbing alcohol breaks it down so well, and with the salt, using as an abrasive.
Do you do a rinse of a flushing of water?
That's the
afterwards
greatest
to
thing
get,
about it.
Get the alcohol taste out. or
You
no?
don't have the taste because it's rubbing
salt.
alcohol. It evaporates so quickly. I run just a splash of water just through it just to make sure the salt's out of it as well. But besides that, there's no taste. There's no flavor. It's better than anything I've used. I've heard of people using orange mouthwash, and it works because it has that alcohol in it. But then your bong tastes like orange,
Orange.
or mint or something like that.
Yeah, you
and
don't
it
want
just-
to taste in like
Right.
409 cleaner
exactly.
or something like that.
And then every hit you're breathing in this
Engine degreaser.
right, you're breathing in this extra fumes and all these other things that you're breathing in. So if you want, a better way of cleaning, your utensils that you use,
Maybe that's where that whole diesel thing
Yeah,
came from.
You're gonna make
Right,
you're gonna make a new strain here, Tom, real quick.
That's
Yeah.
what that is, New York City
Yeah.
diesel.
Diesel. Now we know. Fooled us, didn't they?
Oh.
Now hydro cleaning. I'm
Yeah,
not too
other
familiar
types
with the
of cleaning.
hydro. I'm more of a soil guy, so I'll have to lean it over to you for the hydro.
Well, as far as cleaning your grow room, we talked about pest infestation and so on. I mean, 90% of pest control is all in prevention. It's keeping things clean, and you really need to treat it, kind of like a laboratory where you're taking your shoes off or making sure you're not dragging things in. You take a shower before you go in. You never go outside and with your clothes or pet your dog or anything like that before you go into your area, because every time you do, you're carrying things with you, whether you realize it or not. If you guys watch CSI and shows like that, it's the same thing when you walk into a growing environment. And, the worst part about it is that these little buds that are forming on your plant that you're going to love so much one day, they're like little Velcro strips. And they are, if you think about it, they're tacky, sticky things, and you usually have a lot of strong air current in a type of a grow room facility to make sure they're getting proper air. They need that. So it's like running a vacuum through with little sticky feelers up in the air, and every time you walk in, if you're carrying stuff with you, guaranteed they're going to show up on your buds. And if you start getting your medicine from your caregiver or your own, take the time to whip out a magnifying glass and take a look at what you're getting, and you may be surprised to find that there's going to be hairs in there. Maybe it might be dog hair, it might be hair from your eyebrows, or little things that you don't necessarily think about. Little fuzzies. You got a fuzzy. Yeah, your plants are going to have fuzzies. So
Right.
if you're not being real careful about walking into your area and having that area be sealed, you are going to have things contaminating your product. So that's real important. The other thing, as far as pest control goes, same thing. If you have an area that's going to be attractive to pests, such as like a warm area, whereas your grow rooms are typically warm, they are attracted in there, and plants are food to them. So it makes sense that they're going to want to go there. So you have to make sure that you're constantly cleaning to make sure that you're keeping them. It's an inhospitable environment to them. One of the things you can do is clean like your room with hydrogen peroxide and water. It cleans things up, makes it sterile in a sense, and then also you don't have the bleach residue. I personally don't like that. I think it smells bad. I don't think it's good for my plants. It does ensure that it's a clean environment, so it is something that you can use. However, I would prefer to use something like that. The other thing you can do is put in a little neem oil in with your water. That will also help clean things up and create like a pest-resistant barrier. It won't pest-proof it, but it'll be resistant as long as you're keeping it clean and so on. Like the walls of your area, you need to make sure that those are clean. If you're doing foliar spray,
As long as you're on the subject of walls, if I'm doing a closet grow, would I use a white flat or would I use a white semi-gloss?
flat.
A flat.
Flat does a better job of reflecting the light.
Okay, and I always thought the semi-gloss would because of the glare. No?
You don't want the glare.
Don't want the glare.
Yeah, the flat is really the best for just bouncing the light rays.
Good deal.
Yup.
Okay.
Well, that caller bailed on us again. So if you guys want, like we said, we have the phone here. Call us 810. There we go.
There we go.
810-208-1854.
Sounds like someone's trying to fax us.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, that fax. And yeah.
Well, John's
Wrong
screening
number.
it real quick. So
Okay, that was good, though.
But yeah, cleaning really is the key to pest prevention, making sure that you do have healthy product in the end. It truly is. No caller.
All
Okay.
right.
No caller.
I think, are we ready to, is that enough about cleaning?
yeah, I'm tired of cleaning already.
Well, like I said, I wish I would have had your tip before I did my little boiling job.
I will say there was a new product I ran into just the other last week.
All right.
Over at Vans Hydro.
Okay.
And,
Where all paid G3C members get a 10% discount.
10% discount, that's right. But Charlie over there, he gave me a really cool product to try out. It's I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it's called Rain.
Hey, John. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was called Rain. And it's a type of cleaner that can be used. It doesn't hurt your plants, that you can clean
Hello?
while your plants are there.
Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Hello?
Yeah.
I was wondering about ladybugs.
As for spider
Would
mites,
that work for pest control?
Yep, ladybugs will take care of spider mites.
Right, and make sure they are ladybugs and
What
not
about
these
aphids?
the
as far as-
Asian beetles.
That Chinese beetles.
that Chinese-
Yeah, real ladybugs. Well, you
Right.
can get them at most of your garden centers, the ladybugs that you're looking for. As far as
Okay.
them taking care of aphids, I think they would be predatory on that, but I'd have to check, caller. I'm not sure on that.
Okay, I was looking for them for mallybugs, and then I found out. But what we call this leaf curl, just like potassium deficiency?
Yeah, it can be caused by a number
Like
of things.
rolling under.
Rolling under, yes, that could be a potassium deficiency. If they're curling to the side, it could be a matter of nutrient overload or nutrient burn. Also, mites
Okay.
can cause your leaves to curl as well.
All right.
Is that it?
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for calling in. We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Very good.
Any
Yeah.
other callers, please let us know.
Yeah, give us a call, 810-208-1854. It's scrolling right on the top of your screen. Or also, you can click the little yellow enter chat button, type in a chat name, and type in and chat with us that way.
Cool. That was making me think of something. He's talking about those ladybugs because I was checking on that the other day. Somebody had asked a question on the Michigan Medical Marijuana site. What do you do if I'm already in flower and I have mites? And that's a tough situation because it depends on the extent of the infestation and also the stage of where you're at, as in relation to harvest. It's something that you may need to consider throwing away. You can try to control it. It's not going to be easy. You need to spray and clean. You have to try to avoid spraying the buds because you don't want the stuff getting on your actual product.
Right.
Even though, like neem oil is organic and so
Now,
on.
I've heard ice cold water has a tendency of just pushing mites away. It might not kill them, but it'll push them away.
Yeah, it's a
Is that-
preventative measure. If you already have an infestation, though, your ice cold water is really not going to take care of the problem unless you were there to, mist it every 4 hours just to continually drive them away because you are in a grow room. It's warm. There's lights
Right.
coming down. The water's going to evaporate. You take a risk of sunburning your plants because the water works as a magnifying glass on the plant's leaf tissue. So that's a problem there. You can do something where you take CO2 and increase your ppms in the room over 10,000. And then by doing that, for say 15 to 20 minutes, it'll kill off just about everything in that room.
Now, you probably shouldn't be in that room while this is happening.
Correct. You don't hang out in the room when you're doing that. But you can do that. It will kill off everything in there. It won't hurt your plants. And like I said, about 15, 20 minutes is really all you need.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do is get in there and clean by hand. Mites have a very delicate exoskeleton. So, just simply, like that is going to crush a mite and its eggs. So you can go in and remove by hand if you, say, for instance, you just happen to notice something and then, here I have one or two areas that need to be taken care of. Or just simply remove those areas from the plant.
All right.
So, but they do lay eggs like up to 10,000 every 24 hours. So
Wow.
you got to watch out there.
So, yeah.
They can get away from you in a hurry.
Right.
So.
Yeah, if your plant's gaining weight, in other words, it may not be the buds, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's funny.
Well,
All right.
So, what's up in the women's world, Barb?
well, the women are doing wonderful.
Yeah.
We had our first meeting, as you can see, hanging up here. We have our shirts, the Pink Ladies, Team 420.
I think they actually look pretty sharp. My
These are
wife
pretty
saw them
cool.
and she definitely wants one. So I got to make sure I can talk to you and get me one. So.
No, definitely. We have two styles going, and I'm going to get up here for a minute.
Come on, model those for us, Barb.
Well, for me, education.
Education equals liberation.
We've got Pink Ladies.
The Team 4.
Football at the Genesee County Compassion Club.
That's right.
And we have another style over there. Same wording.
Is that the jersey one there then with the things on the side?
There's our jersey.
Okay. And then over here we just got looks like one of those motorcycle shirts or something,
Shirts.
kind of like a
Right.
3/4 length.
Yeah.
Three-quarter length, yes. It's done up the same writing on the back, to Team 420. So
Very
yes,
cool.
Those are available.
I think
for
we need
any
some
women.
bikinis. What do you think, Tom? There's some Team 420 bikinis.
Well, you better take a look at the pink ladies first, okay?
That's
There
all
we
right.
go.
They may change. You might want a one piece, okay?
All right, fair enough. Not today, though. I tell you, it's hot out.
Oh,
as it
man,
is.
it-
Today,
Yes, for anybody that's not around, it is 93 degrees here. So
mighty warm.
it could be birthday suits today, believe me.
Yeah, but then we would have to go off camera and turn
Yeah,
the lights
and
down.
Turn the lights down. Put your sunglasses back on.
Right.
Okay, I want to give a couple little plugs here
Please.
to the Upper Peninsula again. We have qualifying patient that's going to be in Gladstone
Oh, cool.
on June 28th. Anybody that wants to get over to Gladstone, the Escanaba area and that, they're going to be at 549 26th Street in Gladstone. You can give them a call at 1-888-283-1937. Make your appointment ahead of time. That's for the people in Gladstone, Escanaba area. Then for all yous over on the other side there, over in Marquette, we have the THCF
That's right.
coming your way on Friday, July 3rd and August 7th.
Awesome.
So remember, August 7th, they're going to have to really get their tails and their butts together so they can get back here for the 8th and 9th.
That's right.
That's
Get
right.
back down to Detroit for the
Uh-huh,
expo.
that's right. And all that's going to be taking place at the Landmark Inn up in Marquette. And you have your meeting, your UP normal meeting is coming up July 13th, and that's at 6 o'clock at the Peter White Library on 217 North Front Street up in Marquette. So I urge all you Upers to get out, join your club. I heard there's some people up in the Iron Mountain area looking to join a club.
Great.
If you need some help, I suggest you get over to Marquette and talk to them. Maybe they can help you out.
Or, get a hold of us. Genesee
yeah.
County
Genesee
Compassion
County.
Club
Yep.
at live.com. We'll be glad to help you get going, get you some materials so you can get a club going in your area if you don't have one in your area. Whatever you need. I mean, we'll tell you how we've done what we've got so far and help you get on the same path. So if you are looking to, and it can be 5 people.
Right.
It can be 3 people, or getting together, or it could be 300, 3,000, whatever. I mean, it does. You can do this on whatever level you're comfortable at.
Oh, exactly.
It's just a group of friends that you have. More power to you. So get a hold of us. We got another person trying to fax us again.
Hello?
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Hold on. There we go. Hey, I was wondering if you ever did the raffle for the cloner.
No, that will be at our next meeting, June 9th.
Will it?
Yeah, or
Okay.
July 9th. I'm sorry, July 9th.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks for bringing that up. We
And-
do have a 42 site cloner from Vans Hydro that was donated to us that the club is raffling off. It is a bubbler. It's a fantastic unit.
Yes.
And
Very-
that will be available. You can see that. You can buy your tickets on
Right.
July 9th, 7 o'clock, Colonial Lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're only $1 a piece for a ticket, and $1 could get you walking away with a $300 cloner. So
Yep.
it's definitely worth the money.
I got my ticket.
I've got about 30.
And for those of you out there that aren't lucky like me, then you can pick one of these up. I think that Vans has them on sale right now, but you can pick them up at Vans Hydro out on M15, just north of Davison, right there, almost at the corner of like where Mount Morris
Mount
Road
Morris
and M15 are. But it is on the east side of the road. But
Yeah, if you're coming down Mount Morris into it out of other parts of Genesee County, you would turn right to go down to it. It's right there on your left-hand side.
basically across the street. So.
Yep.
Okay, and for any of you that was one, because on the 8th and 9th, down at the Burst Center, down in Detroit,
Yep.
MMMA Expo, make your reservations soon. Check the website. Take the kids. I don't care what you got to do, but yeah, I suggested everybody show up. Sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Yeah,
They've got
this is
just
going to be
about-
huge.
Now, you're trying to get the girls group to all go down there and do a big thing, aren't you?
That's what we're trying to do too. So any of the women out there, if you would like to have 24 to 36 hours of a getaway, yes, a getaway.
Can we send people with you? Is that-
Hey, that may be a little. Get your wives out of the house for the weekend. Yes, send them with Barb. But we'll discuss that at the next meeting.
Yep.
So I hope anybody out there that is interested, again, show up at the meeting at Colonial Lanes, July 9th, 7 o'clock.
Yep, that's 6430 West Pearson Road, Flushing, Michigan, Colonial Lanes. And we'll be in the banquet room that's connected to the snack bar for everybody that wants to know. It's not right in the bowling alley lane part. It's in the banquet room.
Yep. And we have been getting a lot of requests from our members to start getting into more cultivation type discussions, I guess is what I would like to call it. And, we totally agree. I mean, honestly, we've been doing this for a while now
Right.
and talking about the laws getting old, but we know that people would need to hear it. So we want to continue to share that information and make sure that people understand how this works. But we also want to kind of take the next step forward and try to start teaching people,
Yes.
different ways that they can help themselves. And we are going to be doing that here soon. I know that the guys from Michigan Medical Marijuana Association are actually flying out to Oaksterdam this weekend to kind of firm up their details there. We would like to work in conjunction with them, but we don't know exactly what's on the table in that regard. However, I can assure you that Genesee County Compassion Club will be providing education one way or another as far as cultivation techniques, also harvesting, curing, all aspects of growing. And then also we plan to do further education type classes or meetings about preparation, such as like tincture making and cooking and all the other things that are aspects of cannabis. We know that smoking obviously is one of the ways of ingestion, but there are many, many other ways that can do that, and we can all work together and learn these types of things and then share them with others. There's going to be a lot of patients out there who are not going to want to smoke this product. They're going to want to ingest it with some other type of method. So that's something we want to address as well.
Right, and you just brought up a funny point. I was watching on one of the Facebook pages. We got a link to the CNN's doing America's High or High in America, one or the other.
Okay.
I can't remember what the title of the segment is, but it was talking about, they had a doctor on there, and they're talking about the different ways and the health benefits or the disadvantage. Even act as if, I don't know if he knows about it or if he's even aware or if it was the catch-22 for him not being able to push a pill instead of it, and that's why he went to it. But I found it funny that he didn't even address that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can understand that in a way because I'm a ex-chemo patient. So when you talk to me about edibles to a chemo patient, no, we can't keep anything
Right.
down. So I don't care what grade. If you got the 34% pineapple muffin sitting there,
Right.
if you cannot digest. So
Right.
to that part, maybe he was a chemo doctor and maybe he didn't even know.
could be.
Edibles to me is a
Yeah.
no-no for my patients.
Sure. And, I think there should be different types of methods for different types of applications. There's going to be some that will not even be able to vaporize because they don't have the lung strength or capacity
Right.
to inhale them.
Right.
And then let's double that up and say, okay, now this person has an appetite dysfunction, whether it be from chemotherapy or just whatever it is that's ailing them. Now they can't eat. So, okay, now you can't smoke and you can't eat, but we need to increase appetite. We need to decrease pain. Well, here's a tincture, so let's study these. Let's make sure there are many different ways of making tinctures that can simply be applied, orally. And very effective. It actually gets into the system quicker than through typical digestion where it's through the stomach. Or sprays. There is a spray right now that is overseas called Sativix. That's another spray that would be very effective. It's very simple, easy to use, and effective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know is that Sativix contains everything that the plant contains.
Right.
So that may be something that could be addressed down the road. But, as we continue to progress and advance our agenda here, that is something that we would like to look into so that we have that option as well. We want to make sure that the plant is usable and that it is applied appropriately and properly. And I know that we can accomplish that through an organic, community-based type service.
Yes.
And, we would like to see that done on a nonprofit basis, making sure that our communities are benefiting from our work and giving back into the community. The revenue's coming back.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving to the community, here's my last plug.
Yes.
August 16th, fundraiser.
Yes.
Come on, got to start doing things.
Yeah.
I'm going to put out the plug right now because we need every Compassion Club. We need everybody out there in the state. If you have a business, if you own a restaurant, if you're a beautician, whatever you can donate for this fundraiser. We have a 50-year-old man that is terminally ill with stomach cancer right now, and God bless him. He probably will not be here for this fundraiser, but we hope he is. And we have a great bike ride that is going to be done that day. We have a
Yeah,
places here, Tom.
Right, yeah.
Announce those?
We'll be starting off the registration at Jester's at, I think, 11 o'clock in the morning. And now this is not just for motorcyclists. If you have a classic car, you have anything that you want to get into this ride just to have a good time and have a ride. Okay, we're doing registration from 12 now. It's 12 o'clock, 12 to 1. We're going to be doing registration, and then the ride's going to go from Jester's to the Mountain Inn, then from Mountain Inn to Otisville Hotel, to the Backdoor Lounge, rain check, and then back to Jester's. And then we'll be doing our auction, and then we're also going to be doing a big pig roast. So, for $15, you're getting yourself, into the ride, the pig roast, and you're getting yourself into the...
We have a wonderful, wonderful sponsor down at Jester's Lounge on Richfield and Center. And that $5 is going to get you in the drawing for a 52-inch plasma TV. So
Very nice.
We'll be going home with it.
Right.
So your $15 is going to help out a patient. It's going to get you some great food. Entertainment's going to be supplied with bands, 50-50 drawings, and... yes, everyone's going to be into that drawing for that 52-inch
Yeah,
plasma.
this is going to be
awesome.
the party of the summer that we're doing here. And
Yes, we
it's
are.
going to be something that we plan on doing every year. This is going to be our summer wrap-up, and we want to make sure that we're doing it in the right way. So all proceeds will go to this family.
Awesome.
Just so everyone knows that all proceeds... George said he doesn't want $1 for anything, I mean, he's going to want dollars for, the drinks and everything else that you buy.
You still
there.
have to pay for your
Right,
beer.
yeah. You still have to, it's not an open it's not an open bar. You still have to buy beer, you still have to buy your drinks. But besides that, it's just he opened up his place to us. He said, "Yeah, I'll get a pig, I'll get some extra,
Yeah, he's really helping us out
Just
a lot.
great
putting
guy,
this on for,
And the medical tent
Yep.
is allowed
Yep.
at our function.
So we will have,
for card carriers. That's right.
Right, yeah,
card
that will be
carriers,
for card carriers only, and that will be for only patients only. That will not be for caregivers. Caregivers really will not need to go in there because there will be a patient in there that can assist any patient.
That was my question, too. Are caregivers allowed to come to the tent when there's a medical patient inside? Do they belong there?
I don't know if that's something we can really get into. I'd probably look to seek a little bit further direction if that was a question that we were worried about.
Right.
It's just nice that we will be able to have a tent there,
Yeah.
that so patients can use that if they feel. We're not providing anything. It's just
Nope.
a private place where you can go in and
Because
make
we
yourself
understand
comfortable.
that patients are going to be out there all day. This thing we're starting at noon and could run till 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh,
So
no, this is going to run.
I
Tom, I got it.
I know.
No, this is no time limit on this
Right.
one, folks.
Oh,
So
no.
Yeah, well, tell 'em about the other,
George never puts a time limit on his
No.
fundraiser,
No.
so it's just going to be going
I
on.
was just making the point about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. After 4 or 5 hours, some of our patients will need their medicine, and we can't do it
Yeah.
right in the building.
Right.
So
No,
we wanted to make sure that they did have a private spot for themselves where they were not in the public.
Right.
to-
Tell them about the other bars that are involved.
Yeah, we got the Mountain Inn. And now that is, I'm not too familiar with the Mountain Inn is.
That's on Dort in M15, I believe.
Dorton M15, okay.
Okay.
And then the Otisville Hotel.
We all know where that's
Yeah,
at.
everyone knows where Otisville is. Now the Backdoor Lounge is also out by Otisville, isn't it?
Columbiaville.
There's Columbiaville.
Columbiaville.
Yep. And then the Rain Check
That's down on Averill.
down in Averill.
Down
Okay.
on Averill
Awesome.
Street.
So that's what about an 80-mile ride? Then is that?
I don't
it
think
will
it's that far, is it?
It's 17 miles, I guess, out to the furthest place, which would
Right.
be the back door, and then whichever way you want to do
Oh,
it.
yeah, so it's not too bad.
There's
Yep.
no direction
It's-
there, so you can go from
I'm
Columbiaville. You can go to Rain Check first. You can go whichever.
Okay,
There
yeah.
will be maps there and that. But
Right.
yeah,
Cool.
you can use your discretion, and yeah, it's going to give you a little bit to do.
Yeah, and we'll also have one of our members at every single spot
Every
that you guys are going to help you with direction and anything else if you get lost. So we'll be going out of our way to make sure that everyone's taken care of on this.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, once again, yeah, if you have, like I said, anything that you can donate for this fundraiser in the form of a gift certificate,
Or your
cash, your time,
Yep.
we're going to need volunteers. So I urge you all to be at the meeting, and we're going to have a sign-up list.
And that could also be our call to action this week is, make sure that you can get as many people to this event as you can. All
Yep.
your biker friends, all your friends that have
We will have
classic cars,
flyers. We'll have flyers.
Yep,
to
we
pass
will
out.
have flyers to pass out. So we want to make this the biggest event in Genesee County.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate Flint Talk Radio letting us
Yes.
get on here and pump this
Definitely.
stuff too. So
Right, and we are going to try to get these guys out there. They do have a prior arrangement the day before with Mark Farner, I believe. So
It's good. We're going to be up there for the all-day battle of the bands.
Right.
Leading up to
Awesome.
Mark Farner's concert. So Steve probably won't be able to make it because he can't get 2 days off from work.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll
Slacker.
definitely be there.
So-
We'll try to be there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll try to
cool.
get these guys out of the dungeon and out into the spotlight and shake some hands, because these guys, they do need every bit of promotion as they can get, because these guys, they go out of their way to help us. So
Sure have.
And before I get done with my little thing, I just want to say hey to 2 patients, one to Kathy up in the UP Immunicene, and one to hey down to Dee Dee in Florida, who'll be coming our way soon. So
Hey, ladies. How you doing?
come on home.
Cool. Well, it sure sounds like we got a heck of a lot of stuff going on.
yeah, we do.
I'm surprised we remembered it all.
And for everybody out there, it is 420.
We have not remembered it all because the favorite segment here on this show, we
I was
have
waiting. I was
Jeremy.
waiting because now it is 420, so it could only be time for
The Bud of the Week.
Bud of the Week.
Yeah.
All right, this week's Bud of the Week is actually in replacement of last week's because we didn't get to last week, so we got a
remember
little
we had,
sporadic.
I think we told that we need our audience to tell us about this bud. So we've got some information collected.
Yes.
The bud of the week that we asked you to go get the info on was the blueberry.
Blueberry.
It's a pretty popular strain. Most people have at least heard of it.
There's even a song about it.
Really?
Yes, Ludacris sings a song called Blueberry Yum
No
Yum.
kidding, I
It
did
is,
not know
It's
that.
all about this strain. That's how popular this strain has become.
No kidding.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
an old strain. Blueberry Hill was out way before.
Yeah.
What do you think they were doing up on that hill? Okay.
Well, alrighty then.
Okay.
I just dated myself.
So did I.
Well, we wanted to give you some benefits or different facts about the blueberry strain.
Yeah.
So we'll start off by basically it was originated from a Thai strain.
Okay.
And then also from a Mexican strain.
All right.
And I believe that was
Oxacan?
Oxacan. Thank you.
Oxacan?
Oxacan, Mexican. It's a place in Mexico. So you have a lot of your Mexican strains are more sativa. Your Thai strain is more of an indica, and in this case, this strain, the blueberry, is an 80. Typically, it's an 80% indica, 20% sativa.
Oh, okay.
Now, there are some different versions of it, like provided through DJ Short, that are 60-40.
Right.
But your majority of them are 80-20. There are a lot of different types of blueberry strains, and you probably have some arguments about which one was the original and whatnot. But the typical characteristic, it's going to be indica dominant.
Coach lock.
No, not
No?
necessarily.
Not necessarily in this
no,
one?
we're just talking about in the way that it grows.
Okay.
So not necessarily the medicinal benefits of it, but in the way that the plant grows, it's going to be more of a short, bushier, stout type of a plant. Your flowering time is usually pretty good. It can go up to 10 weeks in some cases, but it can be as short as 42 days.
Oh, wow.
Reasons it's so popular.
Right.
It's kind of like an AK-47, another strain that's very easy to cultivate. So these are strains that are good for first-time growers because you can make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of leeway in there and still end up with a fairly decent product at the end.
That's good.
Anywhere from being pest resistant, being a wide range of pH levels that are acceptable to the plant. Also, a wide range of nutrient content, whether it be your EC or ppm. So,
Okay.
you can feed it a lot and it'll take it, or
Yeah.
you can trim down your newts and it'll do just fine as well.
Right,
So,
and it doesn't have really too bad of an expected yield either. It's 400 to 500 grams per square meter.
yeah, maybe like in a sea of green.
Yep.
Obviously you're going to need to know what you're doing in order
Right.
to reach
Yeah, and-
that sort of yield. But
And that's another thing that people need to realize is that it's not per plant when they say 400 to 500 grams. I see a lot of people
Right.
saying, well, this says it's 400 to 500 grams per square meter. Well, yeah, per square meter, it doesn't matter if you have 5 plants in there or one really big plant if you had the space for it.
Correct.
It's just that area.
That's right. Yep. And also it is in relation to the amount of lumens or the amount of power that the light's putting out
Right.
per square area as well. So
Okay.
that will have a different effect on it. But yeah, I mean, you can get down to, a low yield on some of these would be like around 300 grams. Obviously 500 is going to be the top of the spectrum.
Right.
So fairly decent yield because there are so many different types of the blueberry strain. You are going to have variances and so on. But it's a good plant to do, especially like I said, for first-time growers because it's easy to grow. It has a very high THC content, usually anywhere from 15 to 19%. So it's a good quality. It's a very smooth smoke,
Right.
so it's easy to ingest. There, you'll notice as you get in different types of cannabis, the smoke actually itself, the smoke, not the flavor, but the density of it will change, and sometimes it may be more harsh or heavy or thick, and sometimes it may be lighter and airier. or smooth. And the blueberry is a very smooth type of a smoke, so it's easy to ingest.
Now, some of the benefits of it is it's very long lasting medicine.
Yes.
It's great for a full body relief of pain.
Correct.
And it's a good nighttime medicine as well.
Yeah. And that's one thing I found kind of interesting about this strain is that it is a very uplifting, euphoric type of a medicinal benefit. However, it is still very good for relaxation, relieving body pain, and also is recommended that it be used in the evening as a way to relax or maybe fall asleep, as some people have trouble doing.
Is the name deceiving? Does it have a blueberry taste, blueberry
Yes.
aroma, something
Yes.
to it as the blueberry does?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a fruity aroma. I mean, I wouldn't say it's dead blueberry on the aroma, but you can definitely smell the fruitiness to it when you're smoking it and when you're handling it.
Yes. There's the plant. We'll just say the scent itself is the terpenes. That's the word I was looking for. Those have a very fruity type aroma, and then the taste of it does have a blueberry taste.
Yes.
So I have run across different types. People say, "Oh, this is this. This is this." This here should have a distinct blueberry flavor to it.
Yep. Should taste just like blueberry pie. I mean, just dead on blueberry.
And it's going to have, you'll still have all the normal characteristics of cannabis in its flavors, but it would be more distinctly blueberry. So.
Well, that's pretty much all we have time for today.
Oh, yeah.
So
You mean that hour's gone?
that
by
hour is
already?
gone already. So
Wow.
from the Flint Talk radio stations, I'm Tom Yeager.
Go blueberry.
Oh, go blueberry, yes. And this is Barb here. Hey to all those Youpers. Have a good week.
Thanks for joining us today.
And then this is Jeremy